Hey, today we have some updated news on the Democracy Space Station, aka DSS. I'm also going to be showing you a neat little trick with the flamethrower that I'm pretty sure not a lot of you know about, and so much more. If you can, support the channel by tapping the like button below, and subscribe with notifications on if you haven't already. If you haven't noticed, we received a new major order, but that's not mainly what I'm here to talk about because the developers gave us word on what the Democracy Space Station is actually going to do, and it's pretty crazy. Right here on the Helldivers 2 Discord, Arrowhead wrote, once completed, the DSS will be a new strategic level weapon. It will wield powerful Helldiver-directed weaponry to aid in the liberation of its orbited planet through a cutting-edge voting system. The Helldivers will determine where to deploy the DSS and when to use its capabilities. The DSS will finally have a voting system in game. It will also be movable, as you can tell, meaning it's not going to stay at Galaver. Instead, we could travel around in it, which is really cool because I originally thought we were going to be stuck on one planet, but as you can see, that's not the case. The voting system will play a part in where we can send the DSS, considering they mentioned that in the post. Also, a while ago, there was a leak revealing that there would be a voting option for a president on Super Earth, so that might suggest that the developers at Arrowhead have bigger plans for the voting system. Not only that, they might also include a comm system to communicate with us on what's going on, whether that's in-game bugs, updates, and so forth. There's proof of this because the community manager Twinbeard was talking about it 2 weeks ago, where he stated they're working on a comm system. For instance, he wrote, agreed, we want in-game comms, it's being looked into, if or when, no ETA yet. Then about a week ago he wrote, sure, all platforms have their pros and cons, we're still working on implementing comms between us and you, and hopefully a better system between players as well. But until then, we have to make do with what we have. Discord is our primary one and Reddit our secondary in terms of Q&Q stuff, and that's not likely to change. Well, the Democracy Space Station is going to be huge, not just because of its size, but because of the fact that we've got a voting system, possibly a comm system, and we know for sure this space station is going to contain a new strategic level weapon. One of the questions that popped in my head is whether that will contain a new stratagem, similar to the ones we've got like orbital strikes, airstrikes, and so on. So what could this possibly be that's so powerful? We know we're all going to be voting on when to use it because if you missed it, they said, the Helldivers will determine where to deploy the DSS and when to use its capabilities. So it has to be something that deals a lot of damage, but they mentioned voting, so how does that work while we're in game? Because if it's not a stratagem, could it be that they're going to make it so we can fire down a huge blast on a specific part of the map while we're at the Galactic War map table, and then we'll be able to see it from the Democracy Space Station? If so, that would be insane, and honestly, it kind of reminds me of Fallout 3's Mothership Zeta DLC, where at the end you could send down a laser on Earth. But yeah, it's going to be awesome to find out how it works, and again, as I mentioned, I cannot wait. Now, there is one more line I'd like to point out that I don't believe anyone has paid attention to, is that towards the end they wrote, the Helldivers are ordered to clear and hold Turin to allow the Ministry of Science to establish a new, state-of-the-art xenoentomology center. Yeah, when I first read this, I thought maybe we're receiving some sort of research station within the DSS to study the bugs. But then I read the next line, which says, the center will prototype and develop a new high-efficiency Alcubierre drives, capable of effectively transporting gigastructures like the DSS. So it seems we're not going to see a research center inside the Democracy Space Station, although that would be pretty exciting because I imagine we would see the Terminids inside some sort of large glass test pods or whatever you want to call it. It's too bad we're not going to see something like that though, maybe in the future, but yeah. Okay, that aside, how about we now go over the major order? What I recommend is that you defend Turin, and once we've successfully defended the planet, go ahead and travel to the Talus sector so we can liberate Shelt. After Shelt is liberated, the next stop is, of course, Ember, because it's the last planet in this sector. After it's liberated, the entire sector will be clear of the automatons. If we do this, I have a feeling that Joel is going to give us a major order where the bots attack Tarsh, because Tarsh is very important since all the supplies are going there. If that is taken out, then we'll fail the construction, so that's also very important. Also, I think the DSS will be completed in about 4 weeks because the major order we just received yesterday will end in about 5 days, as all we have to do is hold down the planet Turin, and it's that simple. But besides that, we've already completed the first phase, and now the second phase will end in about 5 days, as I've just said. Then I suspect the next order will be in another 5 days. and so on. Of course, until it's done. The question I'm sure you're all wondering is, how many phases are there? Well, there's a total of 4 phases that the leakers have discovered, so technically there are only 3 more phases left, and we're done. I believe it should be completed by the 2nd or 3rd week of October, and I'm pretty excited about it. Now, what I'd like to know is what you think about the Democracy Space Station, because it's supposed to have a clan system as well, and all the other things we've talked about, but you can let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. We're now going to switch topics and talk about the flamethrower. Did you all know that you can destroy a Shrieker's nest with it? If not, then let's talk about it, because it's pretty crazy. Go ahead and equip a flamethrower like so, find a nearby nest, and all you have to do is pull the trigger and light up the nest. About halfway through the canister, the nest should blow up. It's incredible how great the Flam 40 is now, because I was only aware that it was effective against chargers and palers, and I could go on, but it's cool to see that it can destroy a nest as well. If you didn't know about this, tap the like button below to let me know. Since we're talking about weapons, is there anything special about the Adjudicator? Yes, there actually is. You can use it to blow up the thrusters on a gunship. In this clip, you're going to notice 2 things. 1, my aiming is absolutely atrocious, and 2, you'll see that the gunship will blow up after a few hits. Now, if you're not like me, you'll be able to use a full mag to destroy 1 thruster. If you are like me and you suck at aiming for whatever reason, my excuse is because I'm used to playing on PC, but that aside, you can use the counter sniper rifle to blow up the thrusters as well. I actually recommend using this instead of the Adjudicator, mainly because the handling on this weapon is way better than the assault rifle. Now, to be fair, you can choose whichever one works best for you, but myself personally, I choose the counter sniper, not because the handling is good on it, but also the fact is I suck at aiming on console, as I've mentioned, so definitely choose whichever one works best for you. Next, we're going to go over a community manager's message about the nerfs and why it was not documented. He responded to a player on the Helldivers 2 Discord and wrote, "I know it's easy to put on the tinfoil hat or use us over nerfing historically and think that we're hiding lots of changes, particularly nerfs in patch notes. Has that ever been the case? I don't know. Do I know it isn't the case for 95% of the cases? Yes, I do. It's exactly what RD said. Documentation is difficult and very few developers list everything in their PN. As I've mentioned before, changing a reflection in a rock, the color of a certain cloud, or animation for a tree isn't particularly interesting, but we should aim to get all the changes that affect gameplay in there, and we're trying to improve on this. If or when we miss stuff, we will also try to get them out there as soon as we or you spot them. The less delay for those there is, the better." Now, just to pause for a second right there, he's not wrong, right? They're not going to include everything in their patch notes because that would be pretty crazy, right? But on the other hand, let's say it's about a nerf or something that changes the way a gun performs. Yeah, they should include that in the patch notes. I think that's a must. But if it's something small like clouds, like he mentions, or something that's like ridiculously stupid that I don't think anyone would notice, then yeah, they probably shouldn't include that. It wouldn't make sense. Anyway, Twinbeard, the community manager, went on to give some examples. Right here he said, hypothetical common scenario number 1. John Doe changes something in Jera, the change isn't documented in the right place, it disappears in hundreds of other notes and isn't included in the PN. Hypothetical common scenario number 2, something is changed, this is documented, but the change changes something else involuntarily, and we missed to spot that. The unintended change therefore isn't included in the PN. So yeah, all of this makes sense to me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay with it. I don't think it's a big deal to nerf the HMG. Sure, it happened, but you have all these other options to use. You have different types of stratagems, you have different types of weapons that you can use. So even if one is nerfed, which to me was a small nerf, for those that do not know what I'm talking about, the HMG, heavy machine gun, was nerfed. Specifically the durable damage, they reduced it by 15, so it was originally at 50, I believe, and then they like reduced it down to like 35. So it's not a big deal, but for a lot of you out there, it was a huge problem. Now, I'm okay with it because, like I said, there's all these other options you can choose from. It's not like it was the patch before, right? Before the big update, where they nerfed a bunch of weapons, and you really didn't have much to choose from. That right there is a bad way to nerf. But the fact is, they buffed all these other weapons, and just nerfed one slight, small one. Like, it's not even that big of a deal, as I mentioned, but you guys can let me know how you feel about this and the explanation. To me, it makes sense, but let me know in the comments below. We are now going to move along and talk about the end date for the 60-day plan. When are they planning on this? Is it going to be next month? Is it going to be the month after? Well, we do have a word about this because right here, this is what Twinbeard said. The announcement was made on August 13th, so most will of course consider the end of those 60 days to be on or around October 13th. After that, there will of course be lots of discussions internally of what's been done or not, and the outcome of that, and we will see where we're at. Generally speaking, both we and the player base are very happy with the latest patch, which in some ways is a product of the 60-day plan. Apart from a ton of work by all the devs tirelessly working behind closed doors, we've also just started to expand on content production, among which the patch notes shorts recently became a success. Some things are already out in the latest patch, and some is coming up in a not so distant future. A diplomatic reply, I know, but still some info, it's an important process, and it would be easy to mess up by making promises, overhyping, etc. So that right there is some good news. Next month, around October 13th, they should be done with it, and then maybe we'll receive some more information about what their plans are afterwards. But as of right now, things are looking good. I mean, really good. The game is running great. The buffs are amazing. And by the way, I say that the game is running great, but I know for some of you, it's probably not running too well because, to be fair, a lot of you are still crashing. But yeah, besides that, they have improved so much in the last few days. I don't even know. It's been like 30 days since the last announcement of the 60-day plan, I believe, or maybe it was 45 days. Whichever the case is, they've done an amazing job, and I'm excited to see where Arrowhead goes from here. Last but not least, I do want to bring up the nursery drill mission. If you guys have seen my previous video, I do have some good news, because previously I talked about how the drill is just bugged out. It either spawns up in the air, or the drill doesn't spawn at all. But we do have some good news because the developers are implementing a fix for it soon. Right here, we can see the community manager, Roberts, posted this in response. We are aware of this issue. We've managed to replicate, and it's been sent to be fixed. This right here was a response to a player who was curious about the nursery drill mission and what they're planning on doing with it. So that right there is great news. I know a lot of us are upset about it because it's just a mission that's just been completely bugged, just like the Automaton Eradicate mission, which they're also trying to resolve. So as time goes on, we'll probably get a hot fix somewhat soon. If I had to guess, maybe next week, that could happen. Or maybe they release another patch and they just fix a bunch of issues. We'll find out, and I will inform you guys on that as soon as possible. So make sure you are subscribed, turn on the notifications, all of that good stuff. And if you haven't already, make sure to give this video a like just to support the channel. But that is all I have to reveal to you guys about news-wise. If you guys haven't already, comment down below because you might just be featured in the next video. So let's go ahead and talk about those top 3 comments. The first comment is by MixSpicyYT. It would be cool if the DSS ended being a social space like how the tower is in Destiny 2. That right there, I absolutely agree, and I would love to see something like that where we're all roaming around on one big spaceship. It would be crazy, or space station, whichever. Anyways, the next comment is right here by JYLock6412. Sorry if I mispronounced your username, but this person said, let's get a closer look. Falls out of a super destroyer. And last but not least, we have Jibby911. I hope they make an orbital arc barrage. Imagine raining down lightning strikes. Would look insane. Now, what I suggested to Shams was to pretty much create an elemental barrage of some sort. Basically, you would have fire, toxic gas, arc. I'm not too sure what else you could throw in there. Maybe toxic gas. I think I just mentioned that. But anyways, that's my idea on it. An elemental barrage would be insane. But anywho, this is the top 3 comments from the last video. If you guys would like to be featured, remember, all you have to do is comment down below. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.